Welcome to this overview and tutorial of how to use the EICM and RDM3 micromanometers. This demonstration will be done using an EICM. Customers in the United States will have RDM3 manometers. The only difference between these devices is the artwork on the front of the device and the default units the device ships with. However, the device units are easily configurable in the settings. The EICM comes ready to use right out of the box. To power on the device, hold the button until the Release to Start display appears. To zero the manometer, which you'll want to do if the displayed reading is not close to zero, hold the button past the shutdown sequence until the zeroing option appears. You can check if it's functioning properly by pressing your thumb over the opening of the hose or gently blowing into the end of the hose. It should read into the positives on one input and negatives on the other. The manometer has several screens you can toggle through by pressing the button. The first screen shows the live pressure reading as it comes in. It also displays the measurement unit. If you're using the RDM3, this will be inches of water. Using the EICM, it will be in pascals. The battery level for the device is displayed at the top right. The second screen shows a running average pressure, which by default is a 10-second average. The live pressure is still displayed at the bottom, along with the units and battery level on the right side. The third screen contains miscellaneous information, including the manometer's name, MAC address, firmware version, and the ambient temperature being recorded. For customers using the RDM3, temperature is displayed in Fahrenheit. For customers using the EICM, it's displayed in Celsius. Pressing the button once more will take you to a black screen, which can be used to save battery when connected via Bluetooth. Pressing again will cycle back to the first screen. To power off, hold the button until it says Release to shut down. To wake the device, simply hold the button again. The manometer can connect to your phone via the GammaGuard app, using Bluetooth Low Energy, which provides additional functionality. When you open GammaGuard for the first time, you'll be prompted to enable location services and Bluetooth. These permissions must be accepted for the app to function properly. The next screen will display devices within Bluetooth range. To connect to your manometer, match the serial number shown on the device's third screen with the one displayed on your phone, then press Connect next to the matching device. A connection sequence will display, and once connected, you'll see the Simple tab. This tab shows live pressure, 10-second average, temperature, and battery level. The app can maintain communication with the manometer over long distances. Let's show a field demonstration.
Okay, quick demonstration of how you'd use it in the basement. Turn the device on. We see that it's reading minus 0.1 Pascal. That's close enough to zero, so we won't bother zeroing it. And I turned off the radon system, so now this should give us the natural pressure of the house here. Pretty low natural pressure, minus 0.3. I'm going to turn on the radon fan. And the pressure's coming up. Takes a little time to the radon fan to spin up. And it's 14 point something Pascal. So we've got really good communication between this hole and where the radon fan is. And I'm just going to connect this to the app. Find the app. GammaGuard. And we'll just hit connect. and we see the live reading here and the averaged reading. Now we'll go and set up another one in another corner of the house. We'll do the same thing here in this corner of the house with a second manometer. I've turned the radon fan off again. Okay, this one here is at 0.8 Pascal right now. So that's, and it's not in the hole right now, so I'm going to zero this. That's a little bit too far off. Zero. Okay. And again, I'm measuring the natural pressure. Again, it's neither hot nor cold outside, so natural pressure is very low right now. And so this is the reading from the other device on the other side right now, and I'm going to connect this one yet. So connected devices, add a device, and I'm going to connect to that. Okay. Now I see both of the devices here. Normally I would see a serial number, but these are demo devices and I haven't put serial numbers in there yet. But let's go over to the fan plug. So this is the radon fan, and I'm going to go and plug it in, and we will watch the pressures change. So they're both reading at about minus 0.3 pascals. I'll quickly plug it in. And it'll take a while for the radon fan to boot. And we can see both of them change. So this is the one that we plugged in last. So that's very close to the fan here. Say 60 Pascal. Again, that's way high. I've been running the radon fan for a year and I haven't siliconed up the holes. So there's a nice dry path underneath the house to those holes right now. Normally you wouldn't see that much of a drop. Let's do the graph. You can only see one device at a time. So right now it's connected to the one that we plugged in first. And both of the devices, I can go to the other one. And that's the other one that we just put in now. But again, it's nice to be able to see both from where you're messing with the fan and you don't have to run around the basement to get your readings. So now we'll go upstairs and see if the Bluetooth will go through the ceiling here. But drywall on the ceiling, a subfloor, and then a composite floor on top. Okay, we're on the first floor. Both of them are still connected. Ground floor. And let's try one more floor up. Yeah, they're both still moving. So we're on the second floor now. So we're through 2 layers of ceiling, drywall or gyprock, subfloor, and laminate flooring. So you might be able to fuss around with a fan inside an attic and read your pressure readings from the basement. Again, that depends on your phone and the building methods and the building materials and whatever else electrically is going on in the house.
The manometer has two data recording options: in-app data logging, which records the data onto the paired phone, and local logging, which records the data onto the manometer's internal memory. We will first demonstrate the in-app data logging feature, which records the data directly onto the smartphone memory while the manometer is connected to the app. To enable this feature, navigate to the App Settings menu and enable Data Recording. Because the manometer is connected to a smartphone, we can create timestamps, record location based on the phone's GPS coordinates, and create notes to help us keep our data organized. The recorded data will be displayed on the Graph tab and then be moved to the archive once the manometer has been disconnected from the app. To disconnect the manometer from the app, navigate to the Connected Devices menu and press the Disconnect button on the device you wish to disconnect. The points at which you entered notes are shown in red, and once you put the cursor on the point, the note is displayed at the bottom of the screen. You may have to zoom out to see the red dots. If you are having trouble clicking on a red dot, it may help to zoom in first. Now we'll demonstrate the local logging features. Local logging relies on the manometer's built-in memory to store the data with the limitation of the data being recorded as a single pressure value, representing the average reading for the user-defined logging interval. This data is stored on the manometer until the user decides to export it. This means that the local data logging feature does not require a connection to the GammaGuard app. However, it does first need to be configured and enabled in-app, as by default, this setting is disabled. Let's enable it now. Assuming the device is already connected to the app, we must navigate to the Device Settings menu. The local logging section is located in the mid-section of this menu. In this section, we can also adjust the logging interval from 1 second to 3,600 seconds, which is 1 hour. The larger you make the logging interval, the longer the device can log before it overwrites the old data. If you want local logging enabled by default, select Save Settings to Firmware on the lower section of the menu. Each time the local logging is disabled, then re-enabled, or the manometer is restarted, a new session will be added to the local log. Now we will disconnect the manometer and wait for a few minutes to gather some data points. While we gather some data, let's go over some things to note while using the local logging. Because this local logging feature uses the manometer's internal memory, functionality is slightly limited when compared to the in-app data recording. One limitation is when using local logging, the manometer is limited to recording only the pressure values without temperature or time data. Therefore, the timestamp for data recording is calculated by taking the total length of the data recording being exported and subtracting it from the time of export on the phone's clock. This means that if we have locally logged 2 hours of data in a previous session without exporting, then record 30 more minutes of data starting at 4 p.m., when we export at 4:30 p.m., the timestamp for the exported data will be 2 p.m., not 4 p.m., when we started the most recent recording. It's important to remember this, as this system can be confusing when looking for exported data in the archive, which is displayed in chronological order. To view the recorded data, we must reconnect the manometer, then export the data. To do this, we must navigate back to the Device Settings screen on the app. From here, we will see an Export button. When pressed, the text will change to Exporting. The text will then change back to Export, and our data will now be in the archive. The red dots, like the ones representing the notes on the in-app data logging, indicate new logging sessions in local logging mode. Because of how the timestamps are calculated, only the timestamps for the most recent logging session will be accurate. To avoid this complication, it is a good idea to delete any old data from the EICM Micromanometer before starting a new local data logging session. This is done by clicking Delete on the Device Settings menu.